Thank you for joining us today at the Richmond stop of the Worst of Winsome tour, highlighting just how extreme Winsome Sears really is. Today we will hear from Virginians about why her far-right agenda doesn't reflect our values and is just plain wrong for our beloved Commonwealth. So let's recap the greatest hits of the Worst of tour. Reproductive rights, she's against them. Same-sex marriage, she is quote-unquote morally opposed. Job losses, she shrugs. Public schools, she supported legislation that undermines them. Medicaid, more than 200,000 Virginians are at risk of losing coverage, and Sears has responded with crickets. That's not leadership. That's hiding behind the curtains and hoping no one calls on you. My name is Terry Jones. I am a special education teacher and a proud member of the Virginia Education Association. As a public school teacher, it was deeply concerning to see Donald Trump sign an executive order called the Improving Education Outcomes by Empowering Parents, States, and Communities. That executive order threatens students in Virginia. What is even more troubling is to see the Republican leaders here in our state line up to support it. Elected officials in Virginia should be focused on making sure every student, no matter their background, zip code, or learning needs, has a fair shot at success. This executive order does the opposite. It puts programs like Head Start at risk, programs that give young learners the early foundation they need to thrive. Without them, some classrooms could be left empty. There's even a proposal to eliminate Head Start altogether, a move that will pull the rug out from under families overnight. Students with disabilities, like the ones I teach every day, would be especially harmed. These students need strong support systems, not budget cuts. To make matters worse, our current Lieutenant Governor, Winsome Sears, supports legislation that diverts funding away from Virginia public schools. And now she's campaigning to be our governor, bringing her extreme agenda to the main stage. This isn't what leadership looks like. It's what obstruction looks like. Our students deserve reliable resources, not political chaos. And if you're running to lead this Commonwealth, your first priority should be what's best for our students. Clearly, Winsome Sears isn't up for that task. We need leaders who will fight for our students, our educators, and the future of public education in Virginia. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Ed Jewett. I'm the clerk of court here in the city of Richmond. It is my privilege to be the first clerk in the Commonwealth of Virginia to issue a same-sex marriage license, and I don't want that 10 or 12 years of progress to be set back by the election of Winsome Sears. Back in about the year 2000, we started getting visitors every Valentine's Day to the courthouse. It was a group of LGBTQ activists who would come to apply for a marriage license. And each year we'd have to tell them no. We'd have to say Virginia law does not allow us to issue these marriage licenses. So every year we got to meet them. They would bring in we had pink and blue sheets back then for the marriage licenses, pink for the ladies and blue for the men. But after the law changed, we were able to go to one color for everybody. So in 2014, there were a lot of court cases throughout the country trying to get same-sex marriage legalized. And our Attorney General at the time, Democrat Mark Herring, was following it closely and keeping the clerks across the state apprised of the progress that was taking place. So come October, we were ready when the Supreme Court ruled that same-sex marriage was allowed throughout the country. We had been working for about 2 weeks to get our forms updated, to get our worksheets updated, to be ready to accept these applicants when they came in. And I remember on that day we were told at 1 o'clock we'd be able to start issuing that license. And I remember remember walking down the hall, and there was a couple walking in the door, beaming. I said, "You're the first ones," and I escorted them down to our clerk's office, and we helped them prepare the paperwork, and we got that license issued right after 1 o'clock when it became legal throughout the country. Many other clerk's offices in the state were not as welcoming, but our office represents democratic values, and that's why we were there to be helpful, welcoming, and treating people with dignity and respect. We don't want to go back to a time where people's relationships are questioned by their leaders. So I think it's important that all of us support same-sex marriage and build on the progress we've made over the last decade. Thank you.
Thank you and good morning, everyone. My name is Tina Buskey. I'm a Richmond Public Schools employee, and I'm also a resident of our great city of Richmond. I'm a proud member of the City of Richmond REA as well as SEIU Virginia 512. I'm here today to share my story about the importance of Medicaid as Winston Earl Sears refuses to comment on the proposed cuts that would hurt thousands of Virginians, just like me and you. I love the work that I do at Richmond Public Schools, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity that I can nurture, influence our next generation of Richmond's residents, that we will continue to grow and contribute to the community we all know and love. However, as a public schools employee, I can't afford for affordable health insurance through our programs there at the school. So I qualify for Medicaid, which I depend on. I know that Medicaid is often framed as for people who are just getting something for free. But for me, it's quite the opposite. In fact, having this health care makes it possible for me to work and to even stay alive. You see, several years ago, I was hit by a car. This caused me a number of health concerns, such as seizures that were so severe that they mandated physical therapy for me to be able to recover enough that I could drive or even walk again. And I'm not sure if you all know, but physical therapy is very expensive. That is something I could not have afforded without Medicaid's help. Now, I know that people are trying to paint Medicaid as a waste of government expenditures that we do not need, but as I am supposed to work, how am I supposed to work, if I can't even walk? There are thousands of other Virginians just like me who need Medicaid so that they can be able to do what they need to do. And I couldn't continue to feed our good children that's going to keep going without being able to get what I need to stay alive. I've also had other medical issues such as heart conditions and such, and I need Medicaid so that I, as well as other Virginians, can continue to do what it is that we do. I thank you for your time.